Welcome to Click Video Mag. Aubrey and I have been knocking around some ideas about giving you guys some more tips and tricks, specifically due to some of the comments we've had from roadshows, etc. And what we want to do is start off with the program dial on the top of the camera. And the most important step is getting off the green point and shoot mode into the sort of more manual modes, moving
slightly
first.
more advanced modes.
Yes, yes. Obviously, the first step is getting from green to P. Green to P sounds bizarre, but at any rate.
Okay.
All right. So first things first. What would you do? What's radically different going out of your green point and shoot mode on this camera to P on that camera?
Oh, I'm going to take a step backwards. Why? Why do you want to move people out of A?
Out of fully automatic?
Yeah.
Well, fully automatic, the camera's making all of your decisions for you.
There we go.
In P, you've got a few manual settings. What the camera's essentially going to choose for you is ISO, if you've got automatic ISO. It's going to choose shutter speed and f-stop. It'll still give you warnings that there's camera shake.
There's issues,
It'll give you warnings that you're in black and white. It'll give you warnings that you're overexposed or whatever it is, but it will let you shoot. Whereas green actually locks up the camera.
Correct.
If it decides that there's not enough light, pops up for flash. And that goes even all the way up to the 7D Mark II, which has still got a green mode. And obviously the big difference here, you've both of these got a dial on them, but where the 7D or more prototype cameras starts off with green, it's got P, TV, AV and M. The more amateur cameras,
the running man and the smiley face.
And the little flower.
There one.
Yeah.
And the mountain.
And the mountain. So if you've played a little bit with those, obviously the smiley face being portraits, mountain being landscape, the guy running, there's your sports and action mode. That's one thing that takes you out of green, and you're sort of choosing some manual settings there. But P on this camera is you're choosing a hell of a lot more manual settings. So first and foremost,
what I found is that as soon as you move people off green, they start to go. So I think P is the next logical step, because P to me is it's a glorified automatic mode. It allows you to do a little bit more things, and at the end of the day, it's going to allow you to learn your camera better. And to understand, if you change these settings, this is the effect that it has.
Absolutely.
Because as long as you shoot in green, it's boring as all hell.
Well, so the 3 or 4 most important things that P offers you. Number one, you choose your light metering.
Choose your lights.
From spot, which is just a center little spot in the middle of it, to a center weighted, to an evaluative. Now you might read evaluative, and what the hell is that? That's just taking the entire screen and dividing it by sort of 35 or 60 or 100 zones, depending on the camera, and taking an average light metering over the whole thing. Now that's really good for landscape. If you've got a bright sun in one corner and a shady trees in the other, get an average meter reading that will give you something across the whole lot. In green mode, it's just going to choose what it thinks the best, center weighted, thinking the subjects are in the middle.
It's like a mother-in-law.
Indeed.
Green mode.
It looks at the middle only.
Never mind.
Okay, moving swiftly along. The next big thing, obviously, being able to shoot RAW. In green mode is JPEG only.
It's JPEG only.
So, second most important thing, RAW. RAW being one of the coolest things that you can actually now spend time. You get a bigger file size, the camera slows down a little bit, but what you do get is much bigger file that you can now play with in software afterwards. And even if you're slightly overexposed or underexposed, you can actually pull back some highlights, lift up some shadows, start tweaking color without affecting the main file.
I think the thing that I like about RAW, sorry for interrupting you, is the fact that it's non-destructive. Whatever you do in RAW, it doesn't change.
Indeed.
You get a file that you can play with to see, hang on, this is what I did wrong and this is what I can fix. So RAW, hellishly important.
And I mean, in green mode, if you accidentally change your picture style to black and white, you get a JPEG that's black and white. If you've shot RAW in black and white, you can actually bring the color back afterwards with the original files, or the data is still there. So those are the 2 most important things. The other things, like turning off the automatic pop-up flash. That's if you don't want the pop-up flash, being able to tell the camera it's okay to shoot at a low shutter speed. It'll warn you. And the more advanced cameras, obviously, when you're shooting with an 1855 kit lens, you can get away with like a 60th of a second. When you're shooting with something like the 300mm, which is a lot longer lens, you do, however, need a higher shutter speed. And the rule is normally choose the focal length and a shutter speed 1 step higher than that. So this is a 300mm lens. On this camera, actually looks like a 450. So I would shoot this lens at least 500. Now you might have seen some of the early episodes where we were talking about air shows and shooting with low shutter speeds. When you're shooting with a long lens like that, where you're normally at 500th of a second, to get those slow motion blur shots, you're going to have to come down to 250th or 125th, etc., and P doesn't allow you to do that. That's what we're going to talk about next when we start talking about TV and AV. So those are the most important things switching from green to P. Step number one, once you've done that, you'll start realizing there's a little bit more in your hands, but quite a lot of it is left in the camera's control.
Yeah.
And as I say, on the more modern cameras, you also have automatic ISO. The older cameras, you had to change ISO manually. And whatever ISO you then set, it would set the best shutter speed and f-stop for that. Now what we did find with the older kit lenses, especially 1855, P would always, and even the green mode, would always default to the widest aperture. That 1855 works a hell of a lot better at f8. Now, how do we get to f8? So that's enough for this episode. Coming up shortly, or coming up in our next clip, how to get into TV and AV.
TV and AV and start playing Get Off the Couch.
Yeah, that's when you exercise the brain. Anyway, thanks for watching.